Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this is Taking Care of Business. Joining me today is Megan Zimmerman, who is Director of Business Development with Calgary Economic Development. Thanks for joining us today, Megan.
You bet. Happy to be here.
Let's talk about some big news coming across the pike this week in Calgary. Two major tech announcements. The first one, of course, was Amazon Web Services. Tell us a little bit about what Amazon Web Services is and what they're going to be bringing to the city, I guess, in the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very exciting announcement for Calgary, Alberta, and Canada, quite frankly. So AWS, as we call them, Amazon Web Services, announced this week their second data region, is what they call it, outside of Montreal. It's a $4.3 billion investment in the Alberta economy. Will create almost 1,000 high-tech jobs. Obviously, it's going to take a couple of years to build this data region, but what this infrastructure does, Mario, and it becomes a real foundation for the backbone of this economy, is we all know we're talking about digital transformation. That doesn't matter if you're in energy, agriculture, technology, aerospace, fintech, the list goes on. Everybody's business is becoming high tech. There's a lot of data being created and needs to be stored securely. So having this data region here, reduce latency for companies storing and having that safety and assurance of where their data is here in Canada is a big deal. So that's essentially what this infrastructure is going to do. We expect there to be a great halo effect, meaning there'll be other businesses that will be attracted to Alberta to grow here. They really see this as being, a high-tech ecosystem and one that can support businesses that have a significant amount of data that need to be shared, stored, or transferred between offices. So we're really excited, and I think it's going to be the start of a lot more type of investments like that.
And speaking of which, I think it was almost the next day, wasn't it? The announcement for Plug and Pay. Tell us a little bit about what that is and what that will bring to the city.
Yeah, so of course, Amazon was the first announcement of the week. Plug and Play is a technology accelerator. They're based in Silicon Valley, one of the biggest in the world. They will be creating a Canadian headquarters here in Western Canada. They also have a big presence in Toronto. And this is, again, an ecosystem investment, meaning they are going to support hundreds of local companies in Calgary and Edmonton in growing their businesses. They're going to support them with that scale up. Really importantly, they're bringing a very significant network of what they call corporates. So companies that go through Plug and Play's accelerator program will likely end up getting connected to first or second or significant customers coming out the other end. They'll be given a lot of guidance. They'll be part of a massive alumni network from Plug and Play that's global. They'll get access to capital, which of course all scaling, fast-growing companies need. And Plug and Play brings 16 years of credibility, relationships, corporate partnerships, and obviously capital into Alberta. So again, it's really strengthening the US-Canada connection with a hub here in Calgary. So they will be working very closely with companies like AWS, like the industrial headquarter companies here in Alberta, and then of course, all of our fast-growing tech companies that we've seen crop up here over the last number of years across the province.
Can you talk a little bit about that growth in the tech sector in the province and more specifically in Calgary and why it's happening?
Mm-hmm. I like to remind people, I truly believe, and I know Calgary Economic Development shares this sentiment with the community as well. Calgary and Alberta has always been high tech. We weren't known as a tech sector because everyone knew us for oil and gas and oil sands. Those are very technical industries, and we've always had that workforce to back that up with our STEM talent. So this is really just a growth of and building on the strengths that we've already had in this province for decades. And I think natural progressions into other industries like fintech being built on the back of our strong financial sector, all the opportunity around clean resources and clean tech being built off of energy, agribusiness, again, not a new industry by any means to Alberta, but massive developments in agriculture technology, plant protein, animal and genetics, plant genetics. So it's a pretty cool, kind of, I think, growing up for Alberta. And I think there's a lot of opportunity now for other industries, since we've seen some shifts in the energy sector, to get more limelight. And so I think we're seeing that come to fruition. And I think Albertans knew this, and investments like we've seen this week with Plug and Play and AWS are validators that they see it as well. They want to be a part of this growing momentum, and they know that this is, a kind of a young ecosystem. So really the only place to go is up. And I think they want to be along for the ride, and they want to help bolster that acceleration. So Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I found it interesting what you mentioned about not being known for it, and when
Mhm.
you sort of hit the rewind button and look back in Calgary's history, obviously the oil patch has been leaders worldwide in technology and new technology and innovation in that industry, and then of course we who can not forget the smart technologies and being a leader in their field many years ago, right? So I think that's kind of something you touched on that people tend to forget, is that tech has been here for a while. It may not have been as in your face, I guess, as it is now, but it's been there, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think we're just now, like I said, building from those strengths, right? A huge part of that success for us now and into the future is the talent pipeline. Who do we have? Who do we need? Where's the gap in skills? And we know there's some of those, and there's tremendous collaboration between post-secondaries, industry, and all levels of government to address that. I think, and we're well suited. We have really high education rates here across the province. There's no reason we can't get a lot of these great people with great experience back to work or into the right jobs for their skill sets. So that's a huge part of being able to, manage the expectation by companies coming into the market, because they see that talent pool, but we need to make sure it's wide, it's deep, and it's long.
So you mentioned some of the things there. I was going to ask you, like, okay, you're sitting in I don't know, wherever you're sitting in the San Francisco area, or you're sitting in Toronto and Eastern Canada, and you're talking to some companies that are thinking about Calgary. What do you tell them? Like, what's the draw here that you kind of hammer away at these companies?
I fill dinner parties with these conversations, Mario. This is my favorite question, but I think it's a couple of key aspects. First of all, there's market opportunity, right? This is like I said, headquarter city with a lot of major industrial sectors that are poised and well on their way to significant digital transformation. That creates opportunity. It's opportunity for customers, for partnerships, and for employment. So that's a big one. And that's important. People don't come for money or just because the house price is affordable. They come for opportunity for their business. So that's number one. Of course, the quality of life here, second to none across the province, and the relative affordability for that quality of life. We know, everyone across Canada knows what you can buy a house for in Calgary compared to our competitive cities that we do compete with investment, the Vancouvers, Torontos, Montreal. So I think that's a huge part of it. The tax regime, the business friendly, the ability to do business in Alberta. We have some advantages there around income tax and, of course, no PST. Talent, absolutely. Every single conversation starts and ends with talent. Who do you have? Where can we get them? Which post-secondaries are leaning into this type of training? So they're a really critical partner in that. So I think those are kind of the biggies that people are looking for. And then, the last thing, which comes back full circle to Amazon and Plug and Play's validation of their decisions this week, is ecosystem. Do I fit in there? Are you guys moving? Are you progressive? Are you focused on the climate file? Are you focused on talent? Are you guys risk takers and entrepreneurs and demonstrating with data points and different companies that have been very successful growing here, a lot of our homegrown companies, that is the case. So it's not just hearsay, there's actual data. So we do a good job, I think, of telling that story through things like our Live Tech, Love Life campaign. It's just covered with stories of companies that have come or grown up here and been very successful. And they're here because the talent, the opportunity, and they love living and working and playing in Alberta and in Calgary specifically.
Last question I had for you, Megan, is obviously we've been struggling in the downtown for a number of years, since 2014, really late 2014, with office vacancy rates sky high, plus 30%. How important is the tech sector to helping alleviate some of those issues that we're seeing in downtown core?
Mm-hmm. I mean, new business coming in, hiring the number of people that these examples this week, the Infosys, Emphasis, RBC, these are thousands of new jobs. So recognizing the world of work has changed. People are not going to all be in offices 5 days a week like they were, but we know technology companies want, collaboration spaces. They want hubs. They want, places to do product launches and innovate alongside their customers. So those are how real estate, the real estate play will be kind of, I think, brought to life. Critical to the downtown core. We want to bring those companies and those young people back into downtown, all part of the master plan with the city's downtown revitalization. And absolutely, a lot of these companies will have a footprint, in and around the core in some fashion, if not now, certainly into the future. So yeah, this is really part of our plan. and critical that we are bringing life and business and investment back into downtown Calgary, because there's a lot of benefits that will be realized when we get everybody back in some capacity, right? Living, working, and playing in the core.
All right, super. Thanks, Kate. Kate, Megan. You know what? I knew Kate Zimmerman, who was a very close friend of mine. Anyways, thanks, Megan, for joining us today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, Mario.
All right, super. That was Megan Zimmerman, who is Director of Business Development for Calgary Economic Development. This has been Taking Care of Business with Mario Toneguzzi. Thanks for joining us today.